Hey everybody, how are you all doing? Welcome to Take 10. It is nice to see you guys again. Let me try to get, sorry, it's been a little while. I'm sorry about the camera adjustments. I want to make sure that it looks okay on the screen. Let me just double check over here and make sure it's all good. Sorry, the lighting is a little bit weird today. Let me see if this will help. Okay, welcome to Take 10. So Take 10 is my live series. It has been on Tuesdays. We are rescheduling it for the remainder of 2020. My hope is that Thursdays at noon will work out. My kids are headed back to school in a week and a half, and they're not really headed back to school. They're headed to virtual school. And so I'm having to fit in work here and there between their schedules. And so that's how that is working out. So let me know you guys are here. Hi Alma, hi Natalie, good to see you guys. So yeah, we're switching the schedule. Take 10s will be on Thursdays. I'm hoping that noon will be a good time. It's kind of in their lunch break because I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to be with them while they're working through virtual school because I have a 4th grader and then twin 1st graders. So I can't imagine that they will be rocking it on their own, but maybe they will. Maybe they will shock me. So Take 10 is all about having fun with your art supplies, letting go, trying new things, and not worrying about a final product. And my theory or my idea is that you can take just 10 minutes and play, and it will get you in a creative flow. Hey everybody, hey Kimberly, Elena, Sharon, and Deb. You have a 4th grader too, Alma? That's awesome. So Take 10 minutes of just playing. Today we are talking about stencil masks. And stencil masks are just like regular stencils. However, when you do it, the part that's left behind is actually the positive part of the image, if that makes sense. So normally when you would stencil, let me grab another stencil here. So normally when you would stencil, if I were to come in and stencil blue, all of these little triangles would be blue, and the main part of the background, this would stay the background. But with a stencil mask, you put the stencil down. If I come back in here with another color, what was behind the stencil, so this is no longer the background, it is now the foreground, or the part that pops off, if that makes sense. So I happen to love stencil masks. These are a few of my favorites. If you haven't checked out the Crafters Workshop, I forgot to put a link below, but the Crafters Workshop has some great stencils. That is the Crafters Workshop. Stencil Girl is another one that has some very cool ones. These are extra large, which I happen to really like. This is a great one. And then this is a Dilutions Large Squiggle, another one of my favorites. So we're gonna play with a stencil mask today. I already sprayed this with 3 colors of the Dina Wakley gloss sprays. I used apricot, carnation, and lemon, and just mix them, and those are just so fun, you guys. Good morning, everybody. So I'm gonna use the butterfly stencil to start out with, and we're just gonna play with some stencil masks. So I will set my timer for 10 minutes and we will get going. Alexa, set a timer for 10 minutes. She's being moody today. Alexa, set a timer for 10 minutes.
Second timer, 10 minutes.
Oh.
Starting now.
Apparently I have a lot of timers going. Okay, so I'm going to actually use some of the Handmade Modern acrylic paint from Target. I've been loving this recently, and normally, so I'm out of pixie spray. Let me show you guys what the pixie spray looks like. This is pixie spray, but mine is all out, and normally I would put this down with pixie spray, but for the sake of Take 10, I'm just going to go with it as it is, and I'll come through, and I'm going to try to make sure when I'm using acrylic paint over a stencil, you don't want a lot of paint on your brush. I try to make it as dry as possible, because if your brush is like super juicy, it's just gonna push the paint right on under. So with a stencil mask, you do want to make sure you go over the edges of the stencil. So you don't just fill in the middle. In this case, you do want it to go off of the edges as well, so that you get the full effect. And I'm just going to come in here. Have you guys ever used stencil masks? Do you consider them different than other stencils? I do, and when I go, not that I've seen, I've got too much there, not that I've gotten to go to any scrapbook conventions or anything like that, but when I go to specialty stores, I always look for stencil masks, because they are some of my favorite to work with in art journaling. And actually, I'm on the hunt for some smaller ones. So for a while, I was only buying big ones because I was wanting big ones for art journaling, but now I kind of want to be able to use them in other projects, and I feel like some smaller ones would be a little bit simpler. You can also, these are ones that you could make. So if you have a Cricut or a Silhouette, oh, whoa, see, I got a little too much there. If you have a Cricut or a Silhouette and you just cut out an image, maybe you're just doing it out of a thick cardstock, and you can use that as your stencil mask and then paint over it. And it's just, I don't know, it's something about it that, like, turning that image around in my head just makes for such a cool thing. I don't know, it's hard to explain why I like it so much, but I really do. It's awesome to be back with you guys. I took a few weeks off, maybe 2. It has been a crazy summer, not only with COVID, but my parents were moving to Texas, and in the midst of moving, it turned out my dad needed to have surgery, and so then they couldn't move, so they moved in with us for 5 weeks or so. And so that was fun and just crazy whenever you add more people to your household. And now we're getting back to school starting soon, but of course school is virtual for us, which is you know, its own challenge. We'll see how it goes. I'm hoping that it goes better in the spring. I think it will. I think everyone is a lot more prepared for it this time around. So all right, so that is loosely, let me show you what happens. See, so when you pick it up, you get that super cool butterfly image, and I'm just gonna fill in some more of this right here because I really want that butterfly to pop off and be the main part of the page. So I fill in this, and then let me show you another masking thing that is something I really like to do, but I'm gonna fill this in and switch colors. This is one of the few times I actually had a vision for a page. Like, I had an idea before I got started, so we'll see how it turns out. So there's my butterfly wing, and then I want to, so I have these, I have these cardstock letters that have just been in my stash forever. And using these is another great way to try masking, because you can just hold them down and paint around them. But I want to switch teal. Maybe we'll try teal. I want to switch colors. So again, this is one, this would be super easy to do. You might have chipboard letters around, or if you have a cutting machine or die cuts or something like that that you want to use. Let's start. Okay, I'm gonna actually start with the L, which I know seems weird, but I want to make sure it's in the right place. So I'm just gonna go around it, and then truthfully I'll be able to move it out of the way and fill in the rest of the paint, if that makes sense. So I'm just masking off the area that I don't want painted. And we'll see I'm actually, so now it's getting in with the butterfly. It's getting messy right there. All right, that already had some blue, so we'll see how this ends up. What I can do is come back in with a pen and trace over that or around that letter to make it pop a little bit more. And I think once you see the other letters in there, in your head, you're gonna fill in the L. The resist liquid, yes. And actually, resist is one of our words coming up. Woo! For Take 10. So I'll be using some of that resist. I had a pen one time. Have y'all ever seen those, like a resist pen almost? And you could draw something, let it, kind of like what Debbie was just saying, and then let it dry, paint over it, or do whatever you're going to do over it, and then you peel it up. It was really tricky to make sure you didn't. I did it on Bible pages, and it was a little bit tricky to make sure you didn't tear the Bible page with that particular liquid I used to have. But it has been a long time since I used that. Okay, then I'm going to come in, fill in a little bit more of this. Okay. Yeah, I kind of super like that. So you see how the background became, like the foreground in a way? So what I would probably do, of course, this is wet. Let me just dry it off just a little bit. So on a page like this, what I would most likely do would be to come back with pens, paint pens or markers, and add in some more details. So as of now I have 2 layers, and then I would start to build up. So I would add details, and then I might come back in with texture paste or with other elements that I'm actually just collaging on to the page to kind of build up from here. But I think this is a really great start for an art journal page. I mean, you can think of, so you have the word fly, maybe you're like gonna handwrite a quote over here about flying, or about taking a risk, or something like that, or growing and blooming, something like that. This is a really good start. Let's look. Let me grab a paint pen. This is the Posca paint pen. So I might come in and add just a little bit. I kind of wish this was a finer paint pen, finer tip. I really would like a set of the Posca finer tip paint pens. I'll have to add that to my ever-growing wish list. See, that's fun. Hey, Jessa. You're fine. It's a weird time, especially if you have kiddos. I'm sure you were probably making lunch for kids. My husband's around. It's actually his birthday, so shout out. Happy birthday to my husband. We've been celebrating him today. I just got back from the store with stuff to make strawberry cake for him. It's a weird time, Jessa. It's just what's going to work with my kids' schedule. So I like this. I'm actually digging this page. So masking, stencil masking, one of my favorite techniques. And in a couple weeks with resist, I'll show you how to turn your regular stencils, how to make them more like a stencil mask. But you can actually just look for masking stencils. Alexa, stop. Hey, Carol, welcome. So that is the start of a fun page. Like I said, if I were to hand letter a quote in black over here, and maybe, you know, I have like, I feel like a gajillion, well, now that I said that, I don't see them. Am I the only one that has a bunch of butterfly stuff? I did. I don't know where it went. Well, anyway, you could come in and you could layer some florals over here in the corner to add in a quote somewhere. Now I'm just looking through my ephemera drawer. All right, now I'm just getting distracted. The that doesn't go. Okay. I'll stop there so I don't keep getting distracted. You have a bunch. Oh, yeah. All right. So I think that's it for Take 10. Thank you guys for joining me again. Thanks for hanging in there when I wasn't around the past few weeks. I really appreciate you guys, and I hope that this becomes, again, standard Thursdays, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So while my kids are having their lunch, I'll be up here doing a quick Take 10 for you guys and getting in some creative time in the midst of virtual schooling. So I hope that you have a fabulous day, and as always, keep it creative.